অনুমতি আছে সবে করে আসলে স্টার্ট করতাম সবে মাত্র
If everyone could mute their microphones until they're ready to speak, that would help as well.
Okay, we just spoke to Azmul Bhai. He said that he's given us the go-ahead to start. He's going to join us later. He's finding it difficult to actually join the meeting. So, good evening. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks for joining the meeting today. This meeting has been organized by Popular and Limehouse BAME Forum with conjunction with Bowen Bethnal Green BAME Forum. The issue is parking. The meeting is on the threat to residents' parking facilities, with a wider discussion on protecting public services for BAME and working class communities in town hamlets. So basically, members of our working class communities have disproportionately been affected by COVID-19. Members who live in the borough in large intergenerational family networks, older members in these households being reliant on support from family members, whose only access to that help is via the family car. Many of the members of our BAME and working class communities are reliant on the car as a means of income, as taxi, courier, building trade, or small shopkeepers. It is highly insensitive to bring in these parking changes in a time of economic crisis, without consultation, hitting hard the less fortunate and resulting in greater inequalities in one of the most unequal local authority area in England. So I therefore open up the meeting. I would like to ask our Popular and Limehouse chair, Junaid Ahmed Sundar, to welcome everyone and make a welcome speech. Over to you,
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and Shubha Shanda. I could see so many familiar faces and good friends. I would like to welcome you all to another BAME Forum's meeting. The discussion, the Secretary of Popular and Limehouse BAME Forum already have said. I just don't want to repeat things. Today we gathered due to the fact that Town Hamlet Cabinet have taken a decision regarding parking issues. Are we facing problems regarding this parking? Whether people find difficult into this particular? I reckon this is a kind of a trap we are getting into. But mainly, Town Hamlet residents deserve to be consulted with huge kind of changes. And as you know that we all are passing through an unprecedented time, which is COVID-19 pandemic, and many BAME community have affected as well as other communities. Now, question is, we are living in a congestion area, which is Town Hamlet, and most poor borough, or I would say one of the poor borough in UK, Town Hamlet. Now, this kind of changes overnight, I would say that behind closed door in the cabinet, all of a sudden, if the cabinet have decided to bring that huge changes, it would be tons of brick weight on the residents of Town Hamlet. Now we need to discuss that widely, whether this particular changes will bring huge impact on the residents and how we can overcome from that. What step can we take regarding this particular changes? Now, I would say that says new businesses or small businesses in the area, in the market, first of all, will be affected due to some people live different area, says I am in zone A, 1, 2, 3, whatever, and the marketplace is C, 1, 2, 3, whichever. So I'm not risking to save £3, £5, I'm not getting £80 tickets. Although we are very much aware that these parking controls are giving out to the privatization, other people are controlling it. So you could imagine that whichever way we're going, we are in a trap. How could we overcome from that? And most of all, I would say that the people, those who are in the cabinet, have taken decisions or imposing since first, which is from yesterday, imposition has been taken place regarding parking. These people who are not linked with this diverse community. So people need to get information, and we have elected councillors as well as everybody, and including the executive mayor, just to serve our purposes. Now, whatever they are doing in the cabinet, if that goes against the borough, or if that goes against the residents, we have right to shout about it. So I would urge your opinion and suggestions if there are any, and whatever you think, if there is a legal criticism, I don't mind to hear that from you, but surely we shall respect one another in their positions. So I would like to thank all of you. I don't want to name a couple of people. I particularly know most possibly everyone here, and I welcome you all, and let's have a lovely discussions and leave your suggestions very wide open. And lastly, I wanted to thank Shebul Khan. I don't know if he's still in, thanking for organizing this meeting. It is our moral duty just to safeguard the interest of the diverse community. So thank you very much all. And please, if you wish to speak, you will raise your hand and we shall come to you straight away. Thank you very much. Rubel, down to you.
Thank you, Chair. Can I welcome John Lansman, who just joined us now. Welcome, John. Thanks for joining the meeting. I'd like to now ask Councillor Shad Chaudhry to say a few words. Shad bhai, are you there? Shad bhai. Okay. Yes,
hello, assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Secretary, also both of our Popular and Limehouse and Bethel and Bow. I'm really heartful thanks for arranging this important issue. It is very important issue for our community. I think is my personal opinion. Is any action need at the moment very important, raise our concern, our resident concern. People are elected for everyone, for local residents and our community. So I hope we are always next to our residents. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you both of being Secretary and Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Shad Chaudhry. Can I now ask the former chair of Amnesty International and Liverpool Streets campaigner, Linda Wilkinson, to say a few words. Linda, over to you.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me onto this. Around here, I was born on and live around Columbia Road. And despite what people think about the area now, there are still a lot of working class people around here of all creeds and faiths and colours and denominations. I know for a fact that they are terrified, the small business owners, about the change to the parking. And also the people that are less able, that actually have great family connections in the area, that go and get babysitting done by their mum or visit their mum or their grandma and stay all day. And it's going to have a huge impact on those communities. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you know, but the parking is actually run by the same people that are actually trying to put in the livable streets. They're part of the same umbrella organisation. So we have lots of things to consider in here. I'm not going to go on. I just want to say that I hope that the petition that Tower Hamlets we have got going through there gets to 2,000 and we can debate this. But we do have a fracture in our democracy in Tower Hamlets, and I hope we can somehow move together to actually address this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Can I now ask Carlton Bolter to say a few words, please?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for inviting me on. Great to hear everyone in such good spirits here and all coming together. I'd just like to make a point, back Linda up on everything she said. It's completely, this is all connected to the livable streets. It's all connected through the same consultancy. It's a very one-sided consultation. But there's another little point I'd like to put in early as well, is I think with the parking, they've made a big mistake. Because Tower Hamlets issue more parking permits than they have spaces, and now they're restricting parking in this way. If you live on a border of an area, I think any court case will be won because you've not guaranteed a parking space within your small zone. So you will have to bleed over into the neighbouring zone. So anyone who lives on a border area could break that in a court case. I don't see a court case standing up. In a small claims court, maybe we could try a case, do a test case with that issue. But yeah, thanks everyone, and I'd like to back Linda up on everything she said.
Yeah, thank you, Carlton. Can I now ask? I just saw the chair of Bethnal Green Bowl BAME Forum just joined the meeting. So can I ask Azmal Hussain to welcome everyone to the meeting? Azmal Bhai, over to you.
Azmal Bhai, you need to unmute. You are on mute.
Can you unmute, Azmal Bhai?
Okay. Hello. Oh, I'm welcoming the meeting, and we are supporting what parking, about the parking and everything. What the council is doing is a disaster for the of Tower Hamlet. So how can we resolve the problem? Anybody have any suggestion? Put the suggestion.
Thank you, Azmal Bhai. Can I ask, I can see a gentleman from Plaster South Ward. I don't have a name here. Would you like to say something?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
If you can introduce yourself, so everybody knows who you are.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, Plaster South Ward Secretary, which is London Borough Newham. Umesh Desai suggested I should come and join you guys on this one. Quick brief of who I am. I'm a long-term private hire driver, G&B member as well, and a bit of a mouthpiece in the trade. It's a mess. It's not just Tower Hamlets, it's throughout London. I've been monitoring and joined groups all over the place with this. I think one of the things we should all be doing is getting together with the other boroughs that are struggling with the same problem. If everything fails, I would go as far as to suggest a big demo with all the London boroughs coming together to share, perhaps at City Hall. We know that it's actually put through via the government, and London's mayor is following it up, and they're all hiding behind these 18-month COVID emergency legislation. Yes, it's unfair. If you recall, I won't go on too long, but if you recall, Brick Lane tried to pedestrianise about 6-7 years. It failed. They've done it again, from what I understand. They're basically just hiding behind this to get rid of the vehicle. So we need to fight it. We all need them for various reasons, work, moving families around, shopping, as I keep saying in Newham, you can't, if you're in a large family or you got a child that's got learning difficulties or a disability, how do you take the family shopping on the bus? You can't. The boroughs aren't even seeing this. I'll leave it there. Anyone's got any questions I want to put direct to me, as I'm a guest, I'll go quiet. Thank you. for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your contribution. Can I ask Councillor Tariq Khan to say a few words? Tariq?
Thank you, Rulebhai, for giving me a chance to speak. Good to be here. To speak to all us. So, I'm here to try and find out what the real effects of this change. The change has gone through yesterday. The new ring zone charging has been implemented in what we sort of need to do is find out what the sort of real changes, what the effects of individuals are. You know, car parking is a very important thing for the people of our borough in Town Hamlets. It's very it's very sort of it's very emotional for a lot of people, especially to try and park near their homes. Let's see what the sort of real effects are for people and how we can sort of try and change this or to try and move this around as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tarek. Now I would like to call upon another secretary of Bethnal Green and Bow BAME Forum, which is Babul Khan. Babul Khan, can you hear me? Hello? Babul Khan. Robbie. Okay. I would like to call upon a good friend and a best campaigner, Robbie from Wapping. Robbie, would you like to say something?
I'm not hugely familiar with the topic. It's something that I wanted to come and listen about and learn about. But you know, I have a campaigning background. I'm Poplar and Limehouse's campaigns officer, and I'm keen to work with anyone a campaign. We've got from Pastor who mentioned how the car parking issue is something that features in Sadiq's plans, and we've got a mayoral campaign coming up, and it's the prime opportunity to work with us and also working with influence his position on how it impacts the community. I'm also interested to know whether anyone's had any dialogue with John, how we can speak to him to try and influence him here, and maybe work with our MPs. I can see a colleague shaking his head. Maybe you'll maybe hit it up against John a few times already. But I think, as we approach local government elections, we need to put our, elected officials in a position where they're answerable. They're put there to serve people, and if we have a want from them, they need to have the conversation with us. You can't just do things to people, because it won't be long until we're being asked to go and deliver leaflets, go out and fund campaigns. They need to have a proper dialogue with residents.
Thank you, Robbie. Now I would like to call upon Hafiz Zakir Hussain. If you are hearing, would you like to say anything, Zakir? Zakir Hussain.
A few things after.
I think Shubo had his hand raised.
Okay. Thank you. I apologize. What happens? Thank you, Shubo. My sincere apologies, young man. I didn't notice that. I was looking at Zakir's couldn't appear. So therefore, may I request you, Shubo, if you'd like to say Please take your time.
Thank you, Chair.
I'll raise my hand as well, Uncle.
Thank you, Chair, and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yeah, so one of the reasons why I was actually... How many?
No, I got it working. Admit. You should connect now.
Shubha, we can't hear you. Something is wrong with your connection. Something is wrong with your connection.
Can I ask a question? I'll also raise my hand while Shubha connects.
Okay, please, Shabul, go ahead.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you for organizing this. I mentioned this before. As a Poplar Limehouse disability officer, I'm really concerned how the parking changes will affect people with disability and their mobility. And if anyone can shed some light, especially Simon Rose, you mentioned something about mobility. If anyone got any ideas, I'll be happy to discuss that.
This is a question has been asked by Shebul. I just wanted to clear the questions. If you kindly would repeat very, very slowly, because your mic wasn't very clear. What your question is? Are you asking that how the changes are affecting? You want to be clarified, or
how the
reverse way?
changes will be affecting disabled people. As disability officer for Poplar Limehouse, I'm very concerned how the changes and the parking restrictions will affect mobility, carers, medical experts getting to the patients.
Before we go into getting someone to answer the question, Uncle, can I suggest to the host to mute everyone, so that we can have a clear listening to anyone. So I can see at least 8 or 10 people, they are not muted. So can they kindly mute themselves, or host can do it? And only unmute when someone speaks.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everyone, and I'll just let Shibble speak, because Shibble's speaking now. So just bear with me. I'm going to mute everyone. Yes, okay. And Shibble, can you unmute yourself, Shibble? Yeah, you can speak now. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I just, as disability officer for Poplar Limehouse CLP, I'm very concerned about the changes in the parking and how it will affect disabled people, especially stuck at home, who need medical experts to access their premises, to attend for medication and so forth. So I'm really, really worried. And what can I do? Can I start up a campaign against this? And if I could get any support from the BAME, I'll be happy to sit down and discuss with the chair and the secretary from both CLPs.
Let me just thank you. Linda, I have seen you raise your hand. Of course, you wanted to answer that question. I will let you. But before that, I would say that we are representing not only disabled people, everybody has been affected by this particular drastic change. So we are representing diverse community as well as disabled people. There are many people in the borough with many issues. We all respect. I do understand if you wish to sit with both CLPs, chair and secretaries, I will welcome you. And I believe that Mr. Azmal Hussain, we shall discuss that widely. But at the moment, we could see we are all affected. We are all affected, including Mr. John Biggs. He is also affected. The rules he's making in the cabinet, they're not thinking in the head that a person, for instance, a minicab driver, his living is in minicabbing. If he earns £200-300 a week and he's got 3 tickets, everything is gone on the ticket. Everything is gone. He left out with nothing to feed his family. So we widely have to consider everything to discuss that. And I think we have right to think that whatever the cabinet is taking decision, whether is it in favor of the community or the residents. If not, we have right to shout about it. We have right to bring our leaders or bring our representative under spotlight and ask them questions. And these suggestions, I am urging you guys that you want to make suggestions from tonight. What particular step can we take? We wanted to reverse that decision which has been taken without consulting with any residents, and they have taken prompt decision that they wanted to impose without discussing even in the full council meeting. Nobody knows about it. So honestly speaking, everybody is in the cabinet. Everybody is in the cabinet. They are abusing their power against us. We should not allow this to happen. Thank you very much. Linda,
Chair,
can I just go to Linda, because she raised her hand quite long ago. She wanted to answer Sabul's question, perhaps.
I was
I'm not
talking
sure.
about disability particularly. Not only will this have a huge effect on disability, as will the street closures. I don't know if you're all aware that carers that visit people only actually get paid for when they're in the house. They can't get paid for their journeys. So this change in parking and this change in the ability to move around the area is going to have a huge impact. As to what we do about decisions that are made that affect us badly, I do believe there is a petition which has almost got 2,000 signatures, I hope, and that would mean that the council should discuss it, full council should discuss this. If that doesn't happen, I'm not familiar enough with the party workings to understand what we could do next. If we don't have a full discussion in council, for whatever reason, how do we actually influence the cabinet? That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Right, I can see a few people waving their hands. So Shebul already spoke.
Sorry about earlier.
Shahavir Hussain Shubo, do you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Chair and Ruhul Bhai. The reason why I wanted to actually speak up today is because I've had many residents approach me and discuss this matter about living in buffer zones. Like, I'll give you an example. I was working with one of the volunteers at my role at the Young Foundation that lives on Valence Road, who lives in Pauline House. And
problem. Shubho, are you still there? Shubho? Okay, I think he's having connection problems. Can I now ask a former councillor, former speaker of the council, Khalisuddin Ahmed, to say a few words? Khalis bhai. Khalis bhai, over to you.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Yes, thank you. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. I want to know why our community is fallen down last 2 and a half years. And cabinet member coming to labor group or cabinet, I oppose, which is bringing by mayor officer. See any evidence when they're coming in a labor group or cabinet meeting from mayor and officer, they did not oppose this. When parking issue coming to labor group, they did not oppose. We are blaming mayor and officer continue. Councillor and cabinet neighbor is and may implement, then we can say it is did not opposing anything, So we need to discuss with our cabinet member. They are taking our money. They're taking taxpayer money. So we need to discuss first with them. Some cabinet members are destroying our community. I think I requested both chair, Poplar, Limehouse and Boyan Bethnal Green. Please call them, all the cabinet members to come to you and ask them why they are not opposing any less anything. Please, I hope this is first step. The next step, I think chair and secretary, both secretary will be decide what we do next. But please, before this, ask some cabinet member who is destroying us. They are taking 40,000 from public money. What they do?
Thank you, Khalis bhai. I think we asked Babul Khan to say a few words last time, but the connection wasn't right. Babul Khan, can you hear us? If you can hear us, please say a few words. Okay. All right. I can see Zakir Hussain. He's raised his hand. Zakir bhai, you want to say a few words? Zakir bhai is the fundraising officer for Poplar and Limehouse CLP.
Okay, thank you, Rahul bhai. Hello, everyone. All I want to really say is with this consultation, I do believe that, or I've been told, that the same company has got the contract that's carrying out the consultation. So that for me is a clear conflict of interest, but it seems in Tower Hamlets somehow that anything that's obvious is somehow just not obvious to the council. It just baffles me that conflict of interest, and obviously we're talking about different steps, but I think the first thing should be, if it's a conflict of interest, why is it happening? And that's a question I have for the cabinet and the mayor as well. And some people have made comments about what the mayor has done so far. And I think also, I know John's not here to defend himself, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this. It's a true fact. I do feel the steps that he's taken so far hasn't benefited the people that have voted for him. I don't think it has. And if John says, as I said, I've got nothing personally against John. I do go for a coffee with him, here and there. But truth be told, I just can't see, with all the steps he's taken, with the closure of the one-step shops and other things, it's just hurting the community. John, I know you've got people on here who would probably relate it back to you, and as they should. But please, you have to sort of wake up and think, am I actually doing the right thing by the community? Or what is it that's making you make these decisions, which is clearly controversial, and it's going to hurt people? Do we have a mayor to protect us or hurt us? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Inshallah. यो करूँगा नवासा क्या होगा आपने आया join करूँगा
continue करवाना इधर
okay जी continue हो
5 घंटा 2 घंटा नहीं
जी 2 घंटा but little more okay तो हम ऐसा shop guest hall तेरे
but friend what you are doing very good I have 100% support.
Thank you very much.
I want you to okay
thank you. I want you to come in after prayer.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll thank you. Thank you. I wanted to apologize to one of our guests who have raised his hand, Simon. I have seen that, but fortunately what we have think that there are many colleagues have joined in, and we wanted to commend everybody just to have their say, just to give respect. I really apologize. we have seen so many people have raised their hands, but we
Can I
wanted
quickly,
to.
Mama, it's Ahtisham here. I think in the message box, I'm just trying to help. Sanumia by expressed some time ago, he's written in the message box that he would like to say something, just for your note.
Okay. Huh? Simon Sanu.
Hi.
Okay.
Sorry, did you want me to say something? I missed it. Or...
Yeah.
Right. What I was going to say very quickly was we're going back to the issue with disabled people. Perhaps one way to look at it, or perhaps we should look at the Disability Act and the Equalities Act and see if rules have been broken with regard to the restrictions. Everyone's gone quiet on me.
Thank you, Simon. If anyone wishes to answer that, what Simon have asked.
Can I now ask Sanur Khan, Labor activist, to say a few words, please?
Hello. Hello.
Sanur bhai, we can hear you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Did you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello. So did you have Hello. Did you hear me? Is the line clear?
Yes, the line is clear.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Good evening, and thanks all of colleagues, those already participated in the important Zoom meeting. I appreciate for that, and the organizer also need to get some more appreciation, as they are working hard. And it's, as when I was the BME chair 2 terms, and from since then and before that, we see many things happening, and we at the BME always, I think it's in the corner. But I think we should stand up, and we have to be united, principally, for the betterment of the community as a whole. And basically, I would like to point out one thing. As far as it was reported by the council, one of the officer, when I talk to them, when I send to them and object them, and we object them, and they say basically there is no insult with the member of the public. I ask why, and he clearly mentioned that it is just simply change the terms and conditions. So I am not sure, that is, informal verbal advice he given to me. If it's the right, then I think they are not, have any obligation to consult with them of the public. And if there is obligation, I think they should consult. And they also mentioned me that your councillor can object that. If they put the objection in writing, and then we will look into that, those areas the councillor object. And maybe the consultation will be happen in that particular area. So I'm not sure. I see already, Abbas Bhai, he is, very, wise in that field, and he was the leader, many times in our council. So I hope probably Abbas Bhai or somebody else can clarify that 2 points, whether it is requirement for the consultation. And if it is right, then it's also right that the councillor need to be objected formally, and then they're going to come to us to consult. There are 2 things need to be clarified. And thirdly, what I would like to mention, the parking. Of course, I salute that, they need to reduce the pollution, all sort of thing, We appreciate that. But they have to look at the same time, the other things that are not going to affect. And I am not sure whether the council have done their equal impact analysis, assessment, in terms of parking change. I don't know why they have done it. And I asked for many questions and many things. I asked to get the information. Still, I am waiting to get that information. And I hope those are the experienced people and our elected representative, they have, I think, it's priority. They got prerogative rights to ask the council and get the information for the member of the public. Because if we don't get the right information, then we cannot do anything. But in terms of the, they are changing, they're going to affect, I think it's enormously those are the family, family living in entire hamlets. Because I believe and we believe the car is a part of livelihood of each of the family entire hamlets. Because we, in terms of our shopping, in terms of our, as some colleague mentioned, our disability, look after our elderly issue, to help them, support them. Also, going to look into, look our, friends and family as a kind of communication, the relationship. We are talking, always talking that is a one-tower hamlet, If it's one-tower hamlet, then why the restriction is kind and which going to impact, I think, significantly on our, brothers and sisters. And some brothers, they are living on the, they're doing many curb job. I think that is very important. And if they come late night, where are they going to put their car? For example, in my area, I see, after the restricted hour, all the car park is filled. I do in a car, but I feel, and I got hurt from my other, local community people. And if they're going to come late, they can't put it there. If they say, only your zone, whatever, you are C1 or C2, whatever, and you can't put anywhere else, then when they're going to come and see all the, spaces fill up, then where are you going to go? So that means they're going to put his car, which is the,
Shanur, sorry to interrupt. You have 30 seconds to finish because we have to keep an eye on the time. Yeah, 30 seconds. Please wrap up within 30 seconds.
Thank you also. So thank you for that. But my question is to clarify two things: consultation and the councillors. Are they going to need to make the objection and they're going to do it? Is the two things. And thirdly, the impact. Have they done the impact analysis and why that council? They didn't provide the full information, because this is the public information. I think they should provide the information. Well informed and then decide, and we salute the pollution and this and that sort of thing. We salute that, we support that principally. But if we look into the community as well, the great change of the community. So I'm thank you for all of listening me. I don't know whether the line is clear or not, but this is my second language. Sorry for that. If you feel anything wrong, then rectify me. But I'm concerned about my local community. I'm always standing with the community. The issues, the many other issues, principally. So I hope the community need to be united, regardless, any other things. And without any politicking, we have to be stand, in principally for the community interest and work together. And I hope we'll win. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanur Bhai. Can I ask Popular Limehouse CLP Community Liaison Officer, Mohammed Abdul Shukur, to say a few words? Shukur Bhai, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Rahul Bhai, did you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening and assalamu alaikum everyone. I'd like to thank you for BME Chair Junaid Ahmad Sundar and BME Secretary Rahul Amin, who are arranging this meeting, Zoom meeting. So I have to request about our parking issue. Request to all councillors, please, you have to raise a motion in the full council meeting and more consulting in the council meeting. And I request to our respected Mayor John Biggs, there were people with concern Zoom meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shukur Bhai. Can I now ask a journalist and a labor activist, M.A. Zaman, to say a few words? Zaman Bhai, are you there? Zaman Bhai, are you there? Salim Bhai, okay, we'll be coming to you. Salim Bhai, okay, we'll be coming to you, inshallah, very soon, yeah? Just bear with us.
respected Chair Sundar Bhai, first Rulman Bhai. The residents of Tower Hamlet opposing the new parking system. So I would like to request our cabinet to reconsider this matter. Thank you. And I'm going for prayer.
Ruled by Carlton. Carlton Bolter had his hand raised.
Yes, Carlton will be coming to you. Okay. Okay, Carlton, do you want to say?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
I think you raised your hand.
Just listening to a few things that are going on, I've just had some thought. If the zones of the parking zones mirror the wards, then maybe if we could get every councillor in a ward to ask the mayor against, say we don't want that in our ward, would he turn that back just on that ward, turn back that decision? If it mirrors the ward, if it obviously if it crosses wards, then you'd have to get the neighbouring ward councillors to back you as well. So if we have substantial councillors who would like to do that, we could show that just by asking for each ward, and then the knock-on effect from that, the pressure that would build within the neighbouring wards to put pressure on their councillors to give them the same rights, I think you'd see a domino effect. So I think that would be a really good issue. That was said from the speaker two people ago. Also, I definitely think there's a legal challenge. Someone who because the council issue more permits than there are spaces, if you live on the border of a ward, there's no judge in this world would not vote, would not see in your favour for that. And also, you know, can we start getting the activists within the Labour Party, within the wards, to start developing the policy and putting pressure on our councillors at Labour Party meetings and bringing these issues up and really start to nail this home. I'm not sure of the numbers. I've only just recently joined, but I'm not sure of the makeup of the local wards and the people actually in the Labour Party. And if it comes to it, if we have to do a recruitment drive to get more working class people joining, then that's what we need to do. Just some ideas, you know, around the political, the legal, and the relevant, you know, what the powers we've already got. So that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you, Carlton. These are really good suggestions. Obviously, we have a few councillors here, and I'm sure they'll want to say something. So I now want to go on to a former councillor, former leader, Salimullah Bhai. You want to say a few words?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Salim Bhai.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to suggest we should ask our councillors and cabinet member today. I think it is a second or third meeting. They know what we are going to do, but no one come to the life and explain us what's going on regarding the parking issue. This is a really serious issue for the residents of Tower Hamlet, and people are already suffering from yesterday. So we have to push our councillors. They know they are working in labor group. They should talk there. They should talk in cabinet, and they are people representative. They should understand they are elected by the people, and they have to help the people. So this is a real problem with them, and I request today all of us to collectively work hard for get rid of out this parking issue soon as we can. Otherwise, we are in problem honestly, and people are really suffering, including some people that disabled people and other people as well, Minika Priber as well. So thanks to BME to organize this meeting and take a view from us, and I like to thanks them to continue again and again until this issue is not resolved. Thank you, Rule. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalim bhai, for joining the meeting. I can see Akhtar Mia is raising his hands. Akhtar bhai, do you want to say a few words?
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikum
Assalamualaikum রুয়েল ভাই আমার সুন্দর গেছে আমার সালাম জন্য
In English, please, Akhtar bhai, in English.
Yeah. Like to my salam to Sundar bhai and Ruel bhai and everyone who is joining the Zoom program about the petition of the the. So I like to say about the parking is already we had an issue in Shadwood. There's passed on yesterday, I think, that is gone through by council. So I hear someone, one of the councillors who was speaking just about half an hour ago, he's saying that thing is gone. We'll see how the thing is working on. So we don't want to see hear from him saying that we want to see how it's going on. It's already going bad because people are suffering from yesterday. Because I got a car, I want to go to Bow now, so I can't leave my car in 3 hours because I'll get a ticket. So people need to go, West Nagri shopping, this and that, but now they're putting people in the trouble. So I want all councillors to bring a motion on council and reject the thing that they're doing about the parking. Can all councillors do that? Because the councillors elected by the people of Tower Hamlets. Yeah? So they should know what the people need in Tower Hamlet. They can't see the, going to the Mulberry Place and take a sign and take the money to their account. Because this is our money. This is the public money. From the Tower Hamlet people's money, they're getting salaries. So we need them to work for us and see how our problem is creating on people. And I want all councillors we had 2 councillors in Schedule, 3 councillors in Whitechapel, all ward councillors do a motion on the council and say, we don't want this. We don't want the Tower Hamlet people to get their neck cut. So the mayor will be listened to him because it's not the central government to say something about the parking issue. This is our local issue. The mayor and the councillor should resolve it and sort it out. That's the thing I want to say to everyone, and thanks to everyone, and I'm hearing the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Akhtar bhai. Can I now ask Abul Kashim Hilal to say a few words, please? I think he just raised his hands. Over to you, Hilal bhai. Hilal bhai, can you hear me?
Assalamualaikum. Good. Yeah. Can you hear me, Rul bhai?
I can hear you. Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum. Good evening, everyone. I give thanks to organizer and BM secretary and chair. You guys arranging good, lovely evening, good program. So it's a really important program, parking issue. So can I say some can I share something on behalf of carer? Because I am one of carer. I work in care sector Tower Hamlet. So I got car. Also a large number of carer, they got also car. So still we face problem, parking problem. So now again council make silly and council shameful decision, parking problem decision. So we raise our voice strongly. My humble request to everyone, we can raise our voice strongly. We can request all of councillor. Early mention lots of speaker. They request to councillor, every councillor. So I have request to also all of councillor. They're gonna raise voice into the cabinet, then push mayor. So I have request to all of us, all of councillor. So it's really important because I don't know, council make every time to time silly decision. We struggling, because I am carer, we struggling before they make decision, silly decision, log in, log out. Now they make decision parking. We do hard work, we go services our house, and we park our car, services our front of house. And if council makes silly decision, we get ticket. So we're gonna pay, because this is council make money, our money, then council make decision, the silly decision and shameful decision. So we condemn council shameful decision. We raise our voice. We stand shoulder to shoulder. Thank you all of us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Halal Bhai. Can I ask Councillor Farooq Ahmed to say a few words, please? Farooq Bhai. Farooq Bhai, are you there? Okay, I'll have to move on. Can I ask former speaker of the council, Mohammed Ayas Mia, to say a few words, please? Ayas Bhai.
No, हमारे को कैसे तो कोई है ही नहीं हम लोग अंदर से भी हम मीटिंग का
Okay, I don't think he's heard us. Okay, and now I'm going to go on to Councillor Ehtesham Haq. Ehtesham Bhai, do you want to say a few words?
Yes, I don't know what to say, to be honest.
There was a question from someone regarding
there are many
what councillors are doing to sort of help.
couple of answers to some of the questions. One question was from Carlson. There are 20 words in Tower Hamlets. Obviously, Tower Hamlets is divided into two Labour parties, two CLPs, constituency Labour parties. We have Poplar and Limehouse, and then we have Bafangin and Bo. And obviously, it's a one-party borough, so we have the monopoly. Apart from a couple of hiccups over the last decades or so. But what I want to say to everyone present at this meeting is this. We have to understand the current system that we're in. It's an executive mayoral system. At times, I know we are quoting that is a cabinet decision. You will actually find that it was not a cabinet decision. The cabinet itself is advisory cabinet. The cabinet has not got executive power. So that's just for everyone to make note. And I know many respected councillors are present in this meeting who has been a Labour group member, Labour councillors. Do you know of any Labour group meeting that was publicly accessible, that people can actually hear, or people can actually record it? I'm sure the answer is no. So you wouldn't know many councillors out there how and what is their contribution during those meetings. So please, when you are just labeling and thinking that councillors are not speaking up, I would suggest that the reality is rather otherwise. Okay, and in regards to the issues, again, I think we as Labour Party, this is a Labour Party Black and Minority Ethnic Forum meeting, and obviously that's in solidarity with working class communities. And I'm quite pleased to see that people from working class communities who are also fighting some of the decisions that they can see are will have a detrimental effect to the communities. We are coming together. So what's important is to organize. I do not want to question anyone's motive, the mayor or anybody else, but it's the system that we have to address. And without organizing, without really knowing, and without taking meaningful action, you can moan, you can complain from refraining in your own corner, or I can do the same. But if we cannot come together and put our point across in such a way that we cannot get the Labour mayor or let's say the Labour council to listen to us, then that's our failure too as a community. That's our failure too as campaigners. Okay, and I say this as a campaigner. I say this as a Black and minority ethnic resident of this borough, and as a BAME councillor living in this borough. I want to be helpful, and I know BAME chair Junaid Ahmed Sundar Azmal Hussein and everyone can vouch for us, like how myself, Councillor Tariq Khan, and many others, we've been trying to find ways to constructive ways to sort of really get the executive mayor and also the council decision-making body to recognize the concern that we hear from the ground. So my suggestion will be to the chairs and everyone else, take meaningful action, write petitions, if you and seek a meeting with John Biggs or the relevant cabinet member who are responsible for making those decisions. And in terms of the councillor support, again, put us on spot, call us all councillors and ask us, see, without breaking our confidentiality code, we'll be able to tell you how much we've done for the community. I don't want to make it long. Many respected elders here who led this community, and I want to hear from them. But one thing I will say to everyone who's here and whoever you speak to, remember this. We are, some of us, or at least I can tell for myself, I'm not elected here and I'm not a councillor just to take this 10,000 or 12,000 pounds. I was elected to serve the people, and I've been trying my best without being expelled from the party, and I will keep on trying my best until the last day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Ehtesham. I am so grateful with your beautiful, comments and suggestions you have. Zakir Hussain, I can see your hands. Thank you. There are a couple of other peoples. I just wanted to go one round and then we'll make our suggestions. Most of all, I just wanted to share my thoughts, and my good friend, John Lensmans is here as an observer from NEC. He can hear, he can see things, what's happening with the borough. I just wanted to share my thoughts. I always talk like that. When I came to this borough, which was exactly 53 years ago, many of these people today who have attended this meeting, they were child when I came to Tower Hamlet. Nevertheless, I have seen ups and downs with general and political. But I'm very surprised. Ever since I came to this country, I have been running around behind one party, which is everybody knows, everybody will say that's Labour Party. I'm still doing it. However, I can't believe, and I'm very disappointed that, when people says fighting without fighting, I think the Tory government is always better because Peter Gold is on his own at the Mulberry Place. And the agenda has been served. Some people are laughing. I know it is a joke. Our executive mayor is serving the Tories policy in there. Like when people join in, one of the good friend Carlton have mentioned. Sorry, Carlton, we'll get to know one another. I will invite you for some tea or coffee. What happens is, like, in the borough, people faces so many things, and they are looking that they want to join into mainstream. What is mainstream? Mainstream is that what is terms and policy? Which party have? Oh, Labour Party have good policies. That's what we've been taught by our parents and grandparents. That's what we've been taught. That's how we inspired to join in this party, because Labour Party's manifesto is better than everyone else. Now, in this borough, it's kind of a living hell, I must say. That what John is doing, he's not consulting with anybody. He says, I am executive mayor. If you don't understand what executive means is, you can see that what's happening. He will do it. But we have right to challenge it all the way. And we are going to do that. I am grateful to Councillor Ehtesham. He have said it in small word. He have said that whatever needed. Today or tonight, we need to demonstrate ourselves that are we living in this borough, are we intend to live in this borough with love and harmony, or we're gonna have this kind of treat. Another thing I must say, tonight, I want John Lainsmans to hear that. When Labour Party allows BAME community or BAME Forum, it means BAME community have some say. Today, in general survey, I could demonstrate clearly that whatever happens during, if it is pandemic, the affected community, first number one is BAME community. Like jobless is BAME community. Who people are affected is BAME community. When everybody is going to consider that? When? Another thing I wanted to say, like, you know, there is an advert in the TV. Big company have hired, big company wanted to hire the Indian man with turban and stuff. And then they are talking about what is his job description, what he need to do. He says, you don't need to do nothing. You need to work whenever the consultants are coming, whenever the people are coming from elsewhere, from different country, you need to work all everywhere, just to show that we are allowing black ethnic minority people in our company. That's the advert. Now, I wanted to send my message with John in NEC that I have spent 53 years of my life with Labour Party, and I always been count not English, not any other, but BAME. Is it a joke for us? You need to take that message, John, very carefully and put it up to the executive that we have been taken as a joke in our own borough. Our executive mayor is taking decision behind closed doors. I don't want to spend too much time. There are special guests still left. They need to have their say. And then finally, I will share some thoughts. I'm sure that I don't want to disappoint everyone, but as I have said, 53 years of my life I have spent with the party, and I got lovely, lovely colleagues and comrades. I want to stay with you, and I want to do better things. However, can I call? It's echoing. Somebody. Okay. I want to call upon another community activist, a good leader, as well as a good communicator, a person who have served 5 times in the borough, and have done a lot, but still to someone is not enough. May I ask a former councillor and former leader of Tower Hamlet Council, former councillor Helal Abbas, to say his says. Thank you.
Thank you, Sundarbhai, and good evening and Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I think it's good to see we got a couple of councillors who've been brave enough and genuinely actually interested to hear what people think. What is sad is that the invitation for this meeting has gone to all members of the Labour Party, whether they're BAME or non-BAME. The absence of the executive, a single executive member, is an evidence that they're not interested in listening. I have always said that the current mayoral system is an autocratic, unaccountable, dictatorial system. It serves only one person, it's the mayor. I have not heard anyone to talk about the benefit of the systems. The gerrymandering of car parking also relates directly to the livable street issues comrades in Bow and Columbia Road have been arguing for. I think I'm not against having pollution-free streets. I've got family members, both young and old, who've got medical conditions, but this has got nothing to do with reducing pollution. It is an attack on poor communities. It's displacing and creating longer car journeys into poorer areas. It's an attack on the poorer community. It's an attack on our working class community. And that includes people with mobility issues, as well as essential car users. Many people drive cars in Tower Hamlets because that's where to put bread and butter on the table. Many people drive, we've heard from a care worker in Shadwell, because it's a necessity to get from A to B for their earning. To deprive that, to create a nuisance. I have not had a single cabinet member, and I have discussed informally with a couple of people who have been able to put a logical argument that's going to benefit the local residents. If there are lots of things they can find, but I think this is something that has been deliberately created to create divisions between car users, pedestrians, and cyclists. This is our borough. And I think, as you said, Chair, you have lived here 53 years, and that's almost a lifetime for many of us. I think we need to work together. I think we need to put pressure on the council, and let's not be disheartened because there is only 24 people on this Zoom call. Every campaign starts from the living room or sitting rooms. Long journeys starts with single steps. I think 24 of us are a sizable number. There is a lot of, I have spoken to a number of people over the last 2 weeks who are concerned, who are very anxious of the impact it's going to have. And the Chair, you eloquently spelled out some of the implications of it. There are lots of people who wanted to join this, but not many people, and we've seen, have the best internet connections or know how to get into it. I think there is a call to organize a bigger rally. I think we need to ask our elected representatives, mayor and executive members, why they think this is such a good policy. If it is, why there's a single one out of 10 people in the executive are here to explain and sell this good policy they think. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I think this is the beginning of a long campaign, as has been said by other comrades. Let's work together. Let's not allow people to divide our communities. If we don't stand up together, then I think we will be treaded upon. Thank you.
Thank you, Abbas. Can I just make a quick announcement? Poplar and Lima CLP are actually organizing a series of events regarding anti-racism. So I've been asked to sort of pass this message on. So later this year, it'll be delivered by Hope Not Hate in conjunction with Poplar and Limehouse CLP. And the main persons to contact is Jakir Hussain and Sandy Paul. And I'm sure Jakir Bhai will have something to say. He's just raised his hand. Jakir Bhai, do you want to add? I'll let you in. Yeah, do you want to unmute yourself? And yeah, you just raise your hand.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Rahul. Yeah, so what it is, we've been working with Hope Not Hate, with comrades Anna Patterson and Sandy Paul. The aim is just to, voice our concerns, and not only voice it just for the sake of voicing because we're BAME or Jewish members, but actually making the CLP understand that sometimes even a roll of the eyes, how it makes another person feel. And there have been things which have been very direct and very awkward. Everyone pays their membership, not to be sidelined or made to be made to feel second-class citizens. So I think the Hope Not Hate is about having a focus group. There's going to be a BAME focus group, including the Asian, Oriental, Black members, and there's a separate one which would be the contact person is Sandy Paul for the Jewish members. So I would urge everybody. We'll have a maximum of 15. So I've already got 8 people. So please do email me. It's jkrhussain@yahoo.com. You would have received an email, and the email does have my email address. It's really to voice our concerns and actually draw up an action plan and hold the CLP to account to see that they actually start taking these steps. And John Landsman is here as well, so possibly we'll see what happens in the local area and the local stages. And if it then needs to be escalated to the NEC level, we would want to take it that far. What we don't want to do is just have a focus group for the sake of it, We're not getting an independent third party involved just for the sake of it. So we are serious about this. And please do sign up in a maximum of, they said 15, at a stretch 20 people. So please do sign up to that. Ruhul, am I allowed to just say one point on what Helal Abbas Bhai said? Am I allowed?
Okay, yeah. Just a minute, Zakir Bhai, because we are mindful of the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Quickly.
Okay. I'll very quickly just say the point that Abbas Bhai made about if you see how people are being divided, the working classes and the BAME communities, and Shrunda Sasa mentioned about the BAME communities and how we're always at the bottom. I think white working classes are facing similar as well. Maybe we're not seeing it as much. All I would say is very quickly, in the 1880s, British Empire was the richest empire, yet you look at Bluegate Fields or just this area where, Jack the Ripper was doing his business, women were selling themselves for a loaf of bread. Richest empire, why were people feeling that they had to be out there and, being, having to sell themselves? Which means that even before the BAME community came here, the rich were always dividing the poor. So whether it's the Asians here or blacks here, they'll always use another excuse. We need to unite the white working class and BAME. We are actually we're in the same boat. We have to understand that. If we get together, we can make changes. If we allow Farage and others to dictate to us and say, oh, actually, it's the immigrants, it's this, it's that. All I would say is 1880s, there weren't many Asians or blacks, but yet the East End was full of poverty, 30, 40 people living in 3-4 bedroom houses. That is a disgrace. So I would just say that it's as well as it's race, it's a class struggle as well. We need to unite. We can't just say BAME. We would want to say as well from ourselves that it is a class struggle as well, and let's work together. Thank you, Ruhul Bhai.
Ruhul Bhai, I think Sanumia Bhai wanted to speak, and he needs to leave by 8:30. I know it's almost 8:30.
No, Shanu Bhai spoke already.
No, Sanumia.
Sanumia, is he here?
Yes, he's here.
Okay, Sanu Bhai, do you want to say a few words? Sanu Bhai?
He's left probably by now. He has been writing messages in the boxes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Sanu Bhai? Hello?
I think he has left, Ruhul Bhai. Let's move on.
Okay, can I ask turn speaker, Councillor Victoria Obazi, to say a few words, please? Victoria.
Oh, sorry, I signed in late. I was having other meetings. So anyway, good evening, everyone. And I hope everything goes well. I hope to get the update on what has been discussed. Okay? So let me know what we can do.
Okay, thank you, Victoria.
Okay.
Can I now ask a Labour activist, ardent activist, a good friend of mine, Councillor Purumia, to say a few words, please. Councillor Purumia.
I just want to say that I'll keep it brief. Changes in our hands, changes in the hands of the members to change the party. And also, I, as elected representative, find strength from the members of being accountable to the members. And as long as we have that link between the membership and the wider constituents, then our politics is richer. And we need to be transparent as well. Too long, one thing is said in public and another thing is said in private. And I say that to myself first, that we should put our money where our mouth is and basically be democratic and transparent and lead by example as elected representatives. And I hope you find that in me. And if not, I'm happy to be corrected by any member or any member of the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Purumia. Can I now ask our special guest, NEC member, a very senior member of the Labour Party. We're very honored to have him today. Can I introduce to everyone, John Lansman. John, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a very interesting discussion I've been hearing. I've heard a lot of anger and frustration expressed, and I can understand why on a range of issues. the parking issue, where I can see the inequality and lack of consultation and well-justified anger and frustration. But on a whole host of issues, there's clearly concern about a lack of consultation, about accountability, about the failure to hear the voice of BAME people in the borough. And that, of course, is true across the country. We're at a point at the moment, when after all there's enormous international anger at the inequalities and injustices that based on race. Following the murder of George Floyd and the events that have happened because of that, because of how COVID has exposed the inequalities and the enormous inequalities and as far as life and death as a result of COVID. And there are international issues, the Islamophobia, that has reached such a terrible state in India, in China, and in Palestine continuing, and elsewhere. But look, there are. I have long been concerned about the need to improve the representation and voice and power of BAME structures in the party. And I must say that I too am somewhat frustrated at this point. And I'll come back to the BAME structures, but I also know, because you've raised it with me before, that there is concern about the threat of special measures returning to Tower Hamlets and other areas with large BAME communities, which I've raised recently at the NEC, but I've been assured that there is no such intention. However, and I've been promised a report to the organisation committee of the NEC. Unfortunately, the last two organisation committees have been cancelled. We have only had one this year, and there's not one due now until November. Although we have got NEC meetings before then. So there will be further opportunities for me to raise those issues. I think that what we particularly have to worry about in relation to special measures is not the formal declaration of special measures, but special measures through the back door, underhand. I know that there's particular concern, given that in some wards you have only had selections, once for in the last umpteen years, and I can understand why there is concern about the possibility of that happening again. And I can assure you that I and at least some of my fellow NEC members will be on the case on those issues. But if I can say some things about the BAME structures in the party, it's good to see such an active and participative BAME branches, as they're now called in the party rules, are now referring to them as BAME branches. But there's also the understandable expectation about a new national BAME organisation. And if you'd have asked me a year ago, I would have said that that we were well on the way to creating that organisation. This time last year, I had hoped that we would have it within 3 or 4 months at the end of last summer. But of course, the general election was called. It wasn't done, unfortunately, before last conference. There were still some issues that we needed to resolve. And we have been talking about it on the NEC, also within an NEC BAME caucus. Unfortunately, the new leadership has not given it, I'm afraid, I think, the priority it needs. And it's very important that BAME branches do press this with your through the BAME with your BAME representatives, your BAME NEC member, as well as through your CLP reps. So I think it may be a few months more before we actually see the national BAME structure up and running. We had hoped that it would be primarily that the National BAME Committee would consist primarily of regional representatives, but it now looks more like there are going to be that half of the places may be taken up by the trade unions. So I think there is more pressure needed on this. I'm also concerned about the resources that are going to be put in at regional level to support BAME structures and regional BAME structures, which I think we also need. So there's a lot more to do. The one significant step forward at the last conference that we had was the creation, the change in the rules to allow for BAME representation target seats. That's parliamentary seats, which was designed to give the NEC a responsibility to identify seats where there would be and to consult before doing it, just like we do with all women shortlists, in order to identify seats where we will make strenuous efforts to have a BAME candidate in order to ensure that BAME that we have BAME representation, that the Parliamentary Labour Party looks like the communities they represent. So that will happen before the next election, but obviously and so I think there will be progress on that before we actually come to select parliamentary candidates. Would expect to be in a year or two. Those are the things I have to report, but I will go back to the NEC next week and our other meeting. We've got 2 meetings in September to voice the frustration and anger that I've heard this evening. And if you've got any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them.
Thank you, John, for your wonderful speech. And you have made small promises. And I reckon that you are man on your word. You will do your level best. You always have done. And we got a best hope with you. As you can see by yourselves, that what these situations we are going through, if I just one after another, if we can absorb one, there is 3 more coming behind. So you could imagine that what circumstances we are going through. I think one of our comrade have mentioned about Liverpool Street. That is another headache. It's coming up, and somebody have said. I think Zakir Hussain have said about conflict of interest. Anything goes in Mulberry Place nowadays. So I believe that this kind of hypocrisy you would share with NEC, and they need prompt attention for the cabinet. What they are doing is not right. You could imagine that if I may mention you regarding Liverpool Street issues, there were some officers who were carrying out survey, and a lot of the activists went together showing them round what we need to do. First, they says they were going to develop the area. They are going to lighten up the area. They are going to focus on the places where neglected happens by the council. They wanted to bring it up, like up to date. What they have done, they have running the consultation online where people cannot gain access to it, and they have given report to the council that these particular changes needed. Like, it reminds me old days when East India Company been in Asia, and they said, we came here to do business. And then they said, we want to develop your country. We want to bring, we want to build good relation. That's what's happening with Tower Hamlet Borough. This East India Company have returned, unfortunately, in Tower Hamlet. We need to wake John up that we, as activists, we time to time need to go door to door, campaign day and night, just to have our victory, just to get rid of the Tory government. Now you tell me, when we go down about the parking issue, about Liverpool Street, they say one thing, do another thing. And conflict of interest, have they forgotten? What is conflict of interest is, we need to stand up together against these hypocrites and telling them what is our right. Yeah, and we shall continue with this particular thing until it's over. I believe, and I'm so grateful, many of the councillors have attended this Zoom meeting. I reckon that when people watches this, they will be happy that we are talking about the people, not about personally. If I have, me and Mr. Biggs are good friend, but particularly when something is not doing right, I have right to shout about it. That's my moral duty. I will do that. And as a BAME community, I must ask everyone that I wanted to know that many of the comrades have request for a rally been called in Altavali Park. Many of them have requested. Are you happy with that? Rally need to be called just to discuss that. Would you please say one after another that if you are agreed with it, if you unmute your mic and say, I am Shanur Khan, I am so and so person, I am happy to call a rally, if you would give this permission.
I'm Abbas, and I'm happy for you to call the rally, Chair.
Thank you, Abbas.
Same here.
Thank you, Zakir.
I'm happy to join the rally as well.
Thank you.
We're happy to support the rallies, Councillor Tisham.
Lovely. I'm very proud of you.
Councillor Purumi, I'm happy to support whoever's decided, including a rally. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Puru.
This is Colton Bolter. I'm happy, and I'm sure that the residents who have all joined the Facebook group, 1,500 of them, would be happy to do that as well.
Thank you, guys. Mr. Shanur Khan, can you unmute your mic? We can hear.
Thank you, Chair, for listening in the past. I think it's the 3 questions I made, but I didn't get any clear answer for that. I don't know, maybe that John Lansmith is there, probably he can answer that. And secondly, in terms of the greater interest of the community as a whole, I am with the decision which will be taken by that forum, the both forums, firstly. And secondly, as I mentioned earlier on, we would like to work together without any politicking and in the interest of the community as a whole, not in a fragmentation way. And thirdly, I would like to mention, as John Lanson mentioned in terms of the special measurement, which was in the past in Tower Hamlet councils. And I believe, and I was one of them, which always, crying for the members' right, members' selection rights, so and so. So I don't want to go to that. And many of my colleagues are present in that meeting, and they know that, including themselves, some of us raised the issue in terms of principle, democracy, and whatever. And finally, I would like to say, if we just have a meeting and do something, if you don't continue that effectively, and if you don't get the full information from the council, then it will be difficult for us to persuade them, because all of our colleagues and those are brothers, sisters are working in the council, all the elected representatives, they are our brothers, and we salute them, and we would like to get full support from them as well, principally, not for any interest for any particular group or myself. I'm not telling that. So I think I see many of our councillors, some councillors left. They didn't say anything, and some was you called the name and they didn't say anything. And I would like to see those people are not present in that meeting. Maybe you're going to call another meeting to involve the more people, more members, and more councillors, and lobby them, talking them, and have a meeting. And if you go sort of campaign in a strategic way, then I hope we'll win that. From my experience, I think many of my people and the friends and elders are present in the meeting. I campaign and we campaign many issues, like as it's CLS, many things we do. And in terms of our schools, only one of the school Tower Hamlets, they made a mix. There is no any other boys' school left in Tower Hamlets. Many issues,
Can I stop you? Can I stop you here? Friend, I simply ask you, are you happy? Many comrades, colleagues have asked, many residents have asked that we should have a rally like Union, have shown their anger or whatever, frustration they bring out by saying, John, don't do this. Are you happy that we call a rally, as other people have said, you hear, we don't want to discuss the past. Can you say, yes, I am happy, yes, I am happy, or no, I am not happy?
Yeah. What you said, principally I agree, but what I said, that is relevant. And as I mentioned, many campaigns you did, we did, I did, but that turns out, we put 5, 6 or more than 1,000 signatures in the council. Nothing happened. So that's why I'm worried about that. If you're going to have a rally, will they going to be effective enough, or will they going to do first and then going to continue to some? That's and principally I agree, but I would like to see as a strategy, one A, B, C, D, how are we going to make it effective, and we can win. Otherwise, we did a lot of campaign, a lot of things, and then we didn't get anything. So that's why my concern is, and I hope everybody, maybe people will agree with me. And principally I agree, because that's going to affect the community, as I mentioned those are car, their livelihood, a part of their life or part of the family, or
Can I stop you here?
So I agree, but my concern and my request to all of you, including is I salute our party. I salute this is the Labour Party we believe in, and that is in our heart and mind, and we have to be, work with them and tell them, and I hope they will realize it. If we're going to raise our issue in a constructive way, and if we're going to unite it together, make a stronger campaign principle, then hopefully I believe it's my sort of a silly idea could be win.
Sorry.
So that is all.
Sorry.
Okay,
can I? Sorry, Secretary.
Okay, can I ask? I can see you want to say something?
Yeah, just to answer Uncle Shahrukh Khan, just want to say this is just the first step, and I know there's a democratic deficit. It's not just with parking, with livable streets, with genuine developments as well. People feel that the rich are getting richer, and the friends of the rich are getting richer, while everybody else is getting poorer, and we don't have any say in terms of our decision. We need to take the struggle into the party. That's the second stage, and I know something that was mentioned by Carlton. We need to make the party much more democratic, accountable. I'm happy to be accounted. I'm happy to go and face the members for a selection. And I think what it is it's worrying that what John has mentioned, that there are apparent moves for impositions and special measures again. And I think the second step is that we need to stop that from happening, and we need to come together and put our money where our mouth is, or our action where our mouth is, and work for democracy, and not say one thing in public and do something else in private. So what it is I'll ask John if he could raise, is there any plans to raise a motion in the NEC about reversing or promoting party democracy as per the Shami Chakrabarti report? John, do you want to come back on that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy to.
Thank you.
John, over to you. Do you want me to speak?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I have raised special measures in Tower Hamlets. I mean, it is actually, you know, there was a denial that there was any intention to, you know, what I was told was there is no intention to reintroduce special measures anywhere. However, what is clear is that, you know, there are, you know, special measures in relation to vetting members have been introduced without formal special measures because you know, the NEC did agree a policy where wherever formal special measures were introduced, that they should only be introduced by the NEC, who should then receive regular reports. So what we're seeing are things which are not called special measures, but which are perhaps backdoor special measures. So that's what we've got to look out for. I think it would be quite hard for them to introduce the imposition of councillors that way. But of course, often things are done as a, you know, because they are described as an emergency situation. So, you know, so for example, there were impositions in the event of a snap general election. You know, COVID could be used as a reason for introducing impositions there. There are ways that impositions could be introduced quickly, you know, as an emergency, and there are special powers to do that. So, you know, it is important to be alert to those possibilities. In relation to the Chakrabarti report, there are some of the Chakrabarti, some of the Chakrabarti recommendations which have not been fully implemented, or implemented at all in some cases. So, for example, you know, that we were promised a review of equal opportunities policies within the party. I've actually almost finished a letter to the General Secretary raising some very detailed issues about the party's equal opportunities policies, and about the inadequacies of the current staff recruitment, for example. So that hasn't been adequately dealt with. Because we've had no organisation subcommittees, we haven't had any reports on special measures for several months. So, you know, when we last had a report, there were no special measures, but and we haven't made a decision to introduce them, but we don't, for example, get reports until an NEC meeting or an org sub meeting about anything that's been done by the officers or under special, you know, there are emergency procedures. So, you know, we haven't been able we haven't received a report about any new developments for many months. There's been no review of ethnic diversity amongst the staff. We've been promised that, we raised that in recent meetings, and we've been promised a report on that by the new General Secretary. We were promised an NEC working group on education and training needs in relation to you know, the objectives of the Chakrabarti report. That hasn't happened. So these are all issues which I will raise in a motion to the NEC that is coming at the end of September.
Thank you, John. I can see Jakir Hussain raising his hand. Jakir, we've only got 5 minutes, yeah? So if you can...
Okay, I'll make it very quick. Well, my question is to John. What it is, in terms of you know, better representation or proportional representation from the BAME community, do you think that we need legislative changes similar with the sort of the female representation 50-50? So those areas which have higher concentration of BAME, there should be, you know, in terms of the positions or executive positions should reflect that, number one. And number two, the part also the chair mentioned, I think there's, in terms of imposition and, you know, targeting the, you know, high, you know, BAME concentration areas, it's just the colonial mentality. Again, it's like we need, you know, the white-splaining method of the, you know, BAME communities needed to be managed. So to me, imposition just seems that they can do what they want because, you know, it's the BAME community, and, you know, we have in their minds subconsciously or intentionally, we have a right to rule them. In action, that's how it's playing out. So I just want your thoughts on that.
Well, I do think there ultimately needs to be legislative change, or you know, a Labour government, just like it did with all women shortlists, needs to repeal or change the law in order to facilitate, I think, all BAME shortlists. However, whilst we can't have all BAME shortlists, well, you can have a shortlist which happens only to consist of BAME people, but you can't set out to have an all BAME shortlist. So, you know, we have in certain circumstances had shortlists which have entirely consisted of BAME people, but you can't set out to prevent non-BAME candidates on the shortlist. However, you can, you know, it would be possible legally to have, which is why we've changed the rules to permit this, even without legislation. But we need to take further legal advice to kind of on which to base the detailed regulations and proposals. If we identify BAME representation target seats, and by the way, I don't think they should only be in places with large BAME communities. You know, the Tories actually, you know, do have BAME candidates in a number of seats where, you know, there's a very low proportion of BAME voters. There's no reason why, you know, we should only stand BAME candidates in places like Tower Hamlets. We should stand BAME candidates in lots of places. So I think you need a spread. You know, obviously the seats with high BAME proportions, you know, many of those should be BAME representation target seats, but there should be others as well. And the idea is that, you know, if you have, you know, that you should be allowed, if you have a short list of 6, for example, to require that there should be 3 or 4 BAME candidates on that list, not just, you know, and if you've had a consultation process and constituencies commit voluntarily to being BAME representation seats, then that very fact would, you know, make it more likely that you would end up, even though you couldn't require an all BAME shortlist, for there to be an all BAME shortlist, because it would encourage BAME candidates, and I think it would do something to discourage non-BAME candidates. So that's the intention. That was the intention behind the rule change. You know, which was, you know, I moved at the NEC and it went to conference and was carried, you know, and so, you know, we can do that without waiting for the rule change, the change in law, you know, which would require a Labour government to implement it.
Rulebay, I just want to quickly come in, if that's okay. I'll take only 60 seconds.
Okay, go ahead, 60 seconds.
So before digressing, I'm quite concerned. I mean, it's very useful, the Q&A we had with John and all the overall update and discussion. These are very important as well. But to sort of remain focused on our agenda, I think Shundabama suggested before that there should be a all Labour Party members campaign where we bring in, or we collect all the Labour Party members in Tower Hamlets to sort of sign a petition to John Biggs and others, executive as well, to sort of specifying our position on parking, because that's the issue we are with. So we could have short, small meetings in each ward and see how many signatures we can collect, either that's online or offline. So I think that's what Junaid Ahmed Sundar uncle wanted to sort of take forward. So the rally could be one action. Another action could be write a petition, which will only be signed by the Labour Party member who belongs to Tower Hamlets Labour Party. I just wanted to quickly add a point. I mean, could not refrain from actually making a comment with all the discussions that John Lansman and others. I mean, we have had very recent example in terms of how we have been, I think I like the word you used, Jakir, white-splaining. We've seen how left treats us and we've seen how right treats us. So, you know, it's
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor Atasham. I do understand the suggestions you have made. Already one of our comrade have mentioned, Shanur Khan have mentioned earlier that if he is with us and we need to make a constructive move. So, although he suggested that he thinks that there should be more meetings, not tonight's meeting, because the matter is very serious. Now, we need to ensure that every and each of us are happy what we are doing. We need to consult with one another. You have, Councillor Atasham have suggested that every ward should have meeting. Of course, this parking issue will bring us a huge impact on our community, especially BAME community. Now, we need to survive. We deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. Nevertheless, the people, those who are elected by this community or the residents of the borough, these people desire are that they can meet their desire. Somebody have mentioned that councillor need to be, they need to bring motions and stuff. We know how the system works. It's quite difficult, but nevertheless, we shall meet again. We shall meet again to discuss overall issues, and whichever way the best directions is, we shall move that way just to achieve our goal. And without, guys, I must thank you all that without any protesting, nothing has moved from here to there in this world. So we are only not protesting, but opposing and protesting. We do best what we can for our residents, so that our party shall remain in power all the time, that we could meet their desire. I lastly wanted to thank all of you, especially our special guest, John Lainsman, Helal Abbas, whoever left here. I wanted to thank every and each of you just to pop into this meeting or zoom into this meeting and have a wider discussion with us, just to have your say. And I'm grateful that you are not doing no favor to me, but to your own community. Thank you very much. And I should request you that I'm going to call to wrap this meeting up. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, and assalamu alaikum to you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.